North American Menopause Society, who provides a rigorous education to doctors, and to pass the test for them. I know, because I've talked to doctors who are menopause, or they're like, oh no, the test is not easy. You have to actually study for it. So and there are tons of doctors that are on their directory that have passed. That's the kind of doctor you want, because they're going to be able to help you through this time.
Okay. So do you have any other, so that's where you're coming from. Do you have,
Yeah. Yes.
I kind of want to drill down into that a little bit. So
Yep.
do you have any, say, 3 tips? Now, one thing I would tend to think
Yep.
that all of those things you were talking about, I'm thinking, weight training would actually probably fix a lot of those or help.
By this age. So the number one thing I say to everyone is, well, a trainer might be important, is you need to have the right doctor. Because I have had doctors that literally shut me down. And other people, other women have expressed to me, they'll say to their doctor, I notice that I'm feeling, I don't know, saying like my energy level, you're like, I've changed nothing. I'm gaining weight. I've changed nothing. I went from a high energy person to this low energy person. What the hell is going on? And the doctor be like, oh, everything shows that you're fine. Or so I've had women in their early 40s say, like, I've noticed certain things, like my periods are coming very irregularly. I've been getting night sweats, and the doctor's like, you're too young to be in perimenopause. But these are the two signs that are your body's actually showing you, two things that are showing that you are. So the number one thing I always say is you need to go to that North America. So it's called menopause.org, the website, and find a doctor in your zip code that takes your insurance, that is certified to talk to you about these kind of things, because you're going to have that doctor from now on. Every other gynecologist can help you with babies, but you want someone who knows midlife and beyond health. So that's number one. Number two, what you're saying about strength training, yes, because one of the big things, the two ways that our bodies are compromised post menopause is our bone density. And the fact that I always cite is 60% of women over 50, you either have osteoporosis or low bone density. Either way, low bone density leads to osteoporosis. And outside diet, sure, that's gonna be helpful, but you need to strength train. Actually, two things: strength train and a little bit of plyometrics. Because plyometrics, when you bounce, it's a lot more impact body to ground than any heavy strength training can do. You need the
Mhm.
combo of both kind of things.
I mean, what class of humans have the
Mhm.
highest bone density?
Oh, I don't know. You mean what?
Gymnasts,
Oh,
because
because of all
because the
the
impact.
ground forces. Yes. Yep.
Yes, because of the
That's so
impact.
interesting.
And
Okay, that makes total
so
sense.
Dr. John Jaquish, and he created a machine that, because his mother had osteoporosis, and so
Uh-huh.
it puts the essentially like 9 times body weight onto the skeletal structure to build bone density, because your bones will take that much. But so
Yeah.
you're trying to give it a shot. That's an interesting point, because it kind
You're
of goes
training
along.
your bones. Yeah, you're training your bones to be able to take the impact, because everything our body does is to survive. So whatever you challenge it with is what it rises to the occasion to accomplish.
Yeah,
And I
I
think,
just noticed a couple of your Instagram reels about you're doing the jumping up on things, and I'm like, oh,
oh
God,
yeah, the plyometrics. Yeah, I've been adding that into
God.
my training over the past year. Part of it is like because I actually have low bone density. It's very common for Asian women, and so here's one where I think a lot of times people think being lighter and skinnier is better. So someone who's heavier will have better bone density than someone who's very slender. And
Right.
that's why, Asian women in general, are a little smaller build. Statistically, 20% of them will have osteoporosis. And this is exactly because, you're slighter. You got less impact on your body against gravity than someone who might be a little heavier. And he said 3 tips. I was like, why a doctor? Strength train, little plyometrics. I don't know if I have tip number 3. I think, but
Well,
those
maybe the plyometrics you could say is tip 3. I suppose we could move that into
make it.
being, because that's a good tip, because I was like, man, although
And it doesn't
my bone density is pretty, but it's like, ladies, lift heavy things.
lift. And then actually, that's a very good point, because sometimes I think the idea or hearing lift heavy things, someone will be like, well, how do I do that? What's heavy? And I think everyone needs to remember it's relative to you.
Yeah.
If you're normally only picking up 5-pound weights, heavy for you can be 10, and that's great.
Yep.
So it's just heavier. It's something that's challenging you.
Right. Mark Wildman just posted a really great video about people who have overweight, deconditioned. Set a timer for 1 minute, walk out of your house for 1 minute.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get back. Set the timer, walk for 1 minute, stop, come back. You're
Yeah, I
done.
love that. Yeah.
Next day, a minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Walk out. You can walk a different direction. It doesn't matter. That may be all you can do.
Yeah.
And gradually build that up and get to a point where it's 5 minutes. And then the next week, you can dial it down a little bit. And then
Yeah.
you wave it up and down, because it may get, or when it gets to be, oh man, this is too much, dial it back
Yeah.
a little bit, and then gradually build back up again. So I mean, it can be as little, oh, but all I'm
Yes.
doing is jumping up an inch. Well, what did you do
Oh,
yesterday?
it's
Nothing.
yeah.
Okay. Well, if
I
you
think
ever,
there is a study that if you Google it, about 20 jumps, and they showed that even doing 20 little hops a day, how much it impacted bone density.
interesting.
You don't have to be jumping on a box, but having that regular, just 20 little hops, and then that's a perfect example of just like little things that you could do in your everyday life.
And Dan John said this at the CERT, which is raise the floor. Don't
Mm-hmm.
worry about, oh man, I can't reach the top of the mountain. That's okay. Is your floor 1 foot higher?
Yeah.
Yes. You're better.
Yeah.
And I think a great quote is, it doesn't get easier, you get better.
Yes. That's actually a great quote. That makes sense.
Because